I'm Ed Begley. I've been driving electric vehicles since 1970, off and on, driving them consistently since 1990. And I'm here to tell you that what the detractors and the critics of electric vehicles have been saying for years is true. The electric vehicle is not for everybody. Given the limited range, it can only meet the needs of 90% of the population. I know it's nothing we'd want to trifle with. This, according to the Department of Transportation, 90% of our trips are 40 miles or less. Even the most primitive $1,700 electric car that I bought in 1990, a little Subaru converted to electric, can make that range. On to the second thing I wish to agree with the detractors of electric vehicles on. Electric vehicles are not pollution-free. As you heard up here from an engineer from Caltech, Wally Ripple, they only put out 1% of the pollution of a normal internal combustion car. So there's only a 99% reduction in pollution. They are not pollution-free. And third, and I think the thing that's the most important, they are slow. They are slow vehicles. Now I know that when all the governors were removed on a test track, it could go 193 miles per hour. What was it clocked at? Something like that. 100 in the high 100 miles per hour range. But with the governor on, this car is only capable of going 80 miles per hour. Now, I know, like many of you out there, I went to self-esteem classes and tried to, get testosterone shots and what have you to build up my self-worth, because I could only go 80 miles per hour on the 101, which is posted at 55. And if you also want to have anything to back up these three claims that I just made, first of all, the Department of Transportation will verify that 90% of our trips are 40 miles or less. So there's that number. The other one, besides Wally, I had heard 97%. I'm very happy to hear it's a 99% reduction in pollution from the power plant, which you must figure. And for those of you out there, I've been hearing for years, since I've been driving these in 1990 regularly, people have said, oh, they make every bit as much pollution to power plants. I said, please, send me that study. I want to see that study, because I've seen the other study, the one that's a very credible study about all the less pollution. This has been since 1990, been asking. I haven't seen a credible or an incredible study yet that tells me it's the same pollution. And if you want to do back-of-the-envelope calculation, just think about it for a second. You get a free ride at night, gang. Unless you all tell me you work at a 24-hour donut shop or a all-night pharmacy, most people sleep at night and drive during the day. So at nighttime, you're getting a free ride. Indeed, there are shedding facilities, as Wally said, that pump water uphill at night so they can let it flow downhill again during the peak hours. So at nighttime, you get a free ride. Also, the pollution controls in a power plant, it's much easier to control one smokestack than it is a million tailpipe. That also is true. And also, a lot of people here are going to know the answer to this. How do you make 25%, how do you use 25% of your gasoline in every internal combustion car out there? Use it stopped. You're idling. You're either slowing down, sucking that gas in the manifold, or sitting at a stop sign, or sitting in traffic, or sitting at a light. All those efficiencies together, just back of the envelope, you're going to be able to figure, you can do your own study, it's much, much less pollution. That's the present day. What about the future? Well, it's not just the future where I live in Studio City, it's the present. You can charge your car exclusively on the sun. You can do it at the Santa Monica charging facility, which I'm going to when I leave here. You can charge the car in the sun. You can sign, if you don't have a rooftop for that, you can sign up for Green Power for Green LA today and buy kilowatt for kilowatt. They don't run a special line to your house, but they keep track of every kilowatt used, and they buy new renewables out in the marketplace, kilowatt for kilowatt, what you use from the Green Power program. These are wonderful cars. It's so unfortunate that they went away.
Meet George Jetson. His boy Elroy.
With instant acceleration, electric cars are more fun to drive and more affordable than ever. Electric cars are here. Plug in to the present.
We go now to another transportation story. This one is about electric cars. Business correspondent Paul Salmon of public station WGBH Boston updates efforts to put more of them on the road.
Gentlemen, I know you're all worried, and I agree. There's plenty to be worried about, like this solar power plant, already operational outside Los Angeles.
In the film Naked Gun 2.5, arch-villain Quentin Habsburg, played by Robert Goulet, is bent on destroying anything that might improve the environment. High on his hit list, the vehicle of the future.
An electric car, partially powered by solar panels.
An electric car. And who will save it?
After getting a good night's sleep, I decided to head back to police headquarters.
To the rescue, Lieutenant Frank Drebin, played by actor Leslie Nielsen, who drives a traditional vehicle in these silly films. But Naked Gun 2.5 actually prompted the real-life Nielsen to buy an electric car, in which he now commutes to the set from his Hollywood hilltop home.
The car will go around 80 miles an hour, although I haven't had it up to that. And it goes about 70, 75 miles in distance before it has to be recharged. But as a second car, for me to come to the studio and go back, it's a snap. Just drive up to the house, plug it up, go in the house, and that's it. When I drive the car, I can't go into a parking lot or, say, a restaurant or whatever without having people come over, hey, what, oh, and all kinds of questions, you know. And so you're a salesman for the electric vehicle. It's on its way.
But it's pollution control, rather than a smooth ride, that drives this car's appeal. The electric car is 97% less polluting than gasoline models. L.A. is in violation of federal clean air standards 180 days a year. The city's children have 25% less lung capacity. If pollution is the problem, this car seems to be the answer. And so sure of it is the state of California that as of 1998, 2% of all cars offered for sale in the state will have to be zero-emission vehicles. That is, electric cars. The utilities are thinking of offering customers a $1,500 incentive to buy electric cars. What's got them so excited is the fact that they won't even have to build new plants to serve the new charge-up-your-car market.
It's because most of it is during the night when we don't have a lot of demands on our system. We can serve that with the infrastructure we've already got in place. We don't need to build a new power plant just to serve someone who's going to charge a car at night.
Hello.
Hi.
You ready?
Let's do this.
So you have a job?
Yeah, actually, I'm an attorney. I thought you were gonna wreck the car. I'm just kidding.
You know, this car can go over 200 miles on a charge.
I can't go 200 miles listening to this. It's funeral music.
Well, at least you won't go deaf listening to it.
My grandma listens to this, and she's totally deaf.
Do I remind you of your grandma?
Yeah, but you drive way faster than my grandma.
This thing is so much fun to drive.
Oh, I'm curious what it feels like.
Yeah, well, too bad.
You go ahead.
Okay,
we'll go ahead. We'll go ahead. They're like, where are they going?
I know.
All right, it's my turn to pick the music now.
What?
We actually do have a lot in common. We both love music.
We're both going electric.
We're both getting our tongues pierced.
No.
Oh, come on. I know a guy right around here who'll do it 2 for 1.
Not happening.
With honor, we bring up a council member from this district and a driver of the EV1, Eric Garcetti.
Yeah.
Thank you and good afternoon. First of all, let me thank Hollywood Forever Cemetery for having us here today. It shows their passion for community, for our environment, for allowing us to gather here today in a community setting here. So I want to thank them here in the heart of Hollywood to celebrate a star that has passed. I was an EV1 driver, still am, from 1998 until December of this year, when GM will have to pry it out of my Charger's dead cold hand. And for me it was and has been a wonderful 5-6 year journey to be able to have the support of a family of electric car drivers, people who believe in changing not only our city and our region, but our world. And we took back the title of being the smoggiest city in America last year from Houston. And I think more now than ever before, we have to make sure that we do things to make these deaths less frequent, to bring cars in that clean up our air, to bring in policies that clean up our environment. And I want to thank you all for the commitment that you made personally to being the pioneers to make that happen. I'll just say two things really briefly in closing. There was a lot of support in government for this. The city of Los Angeles now has more than a quarter of all of its vehicles have some sort of alternative fuel in them, whether it's the trash trucks that pick up your garbage or whether it's the fleet vehicles that we have like the EV behind us. But know too that we couldn't get the car companies to sell us what we wanted as a city and what you wanted as our constituents. And so we have to send that signal that today is not just a death, but it's a rebirth of our movement here, that all of you can do something, that cleaning up the air isn't just about electric cars, it's about insisting that your DWP invest in renewable energy the way that private utilities have to. Write your council members, write the board of the DWP, insisting that we have that sort of renewable energy. Redouble your efforts so that we know that this death is not in vain, that we will always remember you, EV1. I have two great grandparents who are buried here today, and it mourns me to add another member of the family to this cemetery. But know that in death there is meaning, that we will, we can, and we must clean up our world, and together we can do that. Thank you.
How a lot of you guys feel. You know, people used to ask me, why do you do what you do? And I, especially after I had my son, told them, I figure if I do my job well enough, my son will never know a time before there were electric cars on the road. He's 5 now, he's sitting over there, and he doesn't know that time. But he also doesn't know and understand why we can't have one now. And he rode in, thanks to EV Rentals, an EV1 on the way over here, and he said, I wish we could keep the EV1 for a long time. And all I could say was, me too. There's nothing I can say that appeals to the logic of a 5-year-old, so I'm thinking he's the one we need to send to GM. So when we launched the EV1, we knew we had the dreams of hundreds of people. And along the way, we met thousands. So I know that when GM decided to shut this program down, they're trying to kill the dreams of thousands. But as we all know, this isn't a dream that dies easily. So while I mourn the loss of what we lost today, I thank all of you for your dedication and enthusiasm and everything you've done to get us here, because this would not have lasted as long as it did without everybody here. It would have been shut down a long time ago. And I know that for a fact. And I know that this dream will not die today. And this mission will keep going. I know we will keep working on it, you will keep working on it, and it will happen, whether it's, you know, the big OEMs, whether it is AC propulsion and AeroVironment and the little companies that make things happen, whether it's the legislators or not, it will happen. So thank you very much.
I know what you're thinking. Electric, it's not for you. And you're probably right. Electric just doesn't have enough range. It will never survive the winter. Everyone knows water and electricity don't mix. No more hanging out here either. Charging stations? Good luck finding one of those. Electric just can't keep up. So, maybe an electric car isn't for you after all. Or is it?
Whatever it is, it's just a wonderful. And I want to talk to you about this when we come back from the thing here. You drive a different car.
I drive an alternative fuel vehicle.
All right, this will be fascinating. We'll come back and find out all about it. Tom Hanks, everybody. Tom Hanks is here, ladies and gentlemen, also NERD. Now, I found this fascinating. Tell the folks what kind of car you drive.
Well, I drive I have two cars. I have an all-electric car, and I also have one of the new hybrids.
Now, does the all-electric thing, does that really work?
People do not understand how an all-electric car works, but here's how it works. They ask me all the time, how does it work? I said, well, this is amazing. What you do is with this electric car, Dave, you put the key in, and you turn it.
Wow.
And then there's this thing on the floor called the pedal, a pedal. And what you do is you press on that, and believe it or not, that sucker goes. That thing will take you down the PCH so fast you could get a ticket. Which, by the way, I know you relate to. You could get a ticket on the PCH in my electric car.
And it has an electric motor?
It has a big battery in it. It has an electric drivetrain, and the battery that you charge at home, it gets about between 70 and 80 miles per charge, which for me is more than all the driving that I need to do in the course of a day.
And is it funny looking? Is it an odd looking
It is not a clown car. It looks well, you know, it does have the big wind-up thing on the back, and I do have just some stuffed mannequins dressed as clown that I stuff in there. So one always falls out whenever I try to pull up at a valet. No, it looks like a small SUV, the RAV4 by a certain car company.
And by driving an electric car, what are you sparing us from?
I'm saving America, Dave. That's what I'm doing. I am saving America by driving an electric car.
God bless you.
How about that? Now, here's the great thing. The greatest thing about driving an electric car, Dave, and I know I say Dave a lot. You still scare me, Dave. You do. Is that you never have to stop at a gas station again. And I'm telling you, you want to talk about freedom, America?
Yeah.
You never stop at a gas station again. Except when you really want a big gulp and some Slim Jims. Then you stop off, you go in, you help yourself, and you go out there, but you never have to stand in line for gas and get it again.
Now, are these expensive, these cars?
Well, it's so expensive, Dave, that they don't even make them anymore. They have now gone to the all hybrid, and they're looking in order to go over to the hydrogen fuel cells. But I got one of the last all-electric cars.
Right. So you're pleased with it?
Oh, I love the thing.
Is that there have been many people at the company I work at, AeroVironment, AC Propulsion, but also, curiously, people right within General Motors who have worked very, very hard to make this a reality, and they've done good work. And they need to be remembered, and I sometimes feel sorry for them that they will, by society, be identified with their company who has canceled this. But these were people who worked very hard and who shared in the vision. And I hope this is a time where we honor those people and respect them. In closing, I just want to say the future is very bright. The soul grows brighter with time. Technology cannot be buried. You can bury implements, but you cannot bury ideas. The ideas will continue on, will continue to grow as they have, and we will see these ideas take various forms in hybrid vehicles, in pure electrics. The real question then is who will be the beneficiary. It kind of reminds me like the computer age. The typewriter companies could not stop the advent of computers. It's reported there was a CEO with a large computer company in 1978 who was asked the question about computers in the home. Did he see a place for this? And I suppose he was thinking about computers of 1978, which were great big expensive things. And he said, quote, "I can't see why anyone would want to have a computer in their home." It's also reported that people in the car companies have said, quote, "We will never do that again." And I believe, like the computer person, their words will haunt them in future days. Thank you.
Shalom, Rabbi.
Shalom, how you doing?
Very good. Let's get going, huh?
Definitely.
Look at that beauty. How long you been growing that beard?
Since before you were born.
You're a trendsetter.
Yeah.
Going electric, it's good for the environment. That's a mitzvah, right?
Look at you throwing around the lingo.
Teach me some Yiddish. There's no way.
That's right, baby. Oyster gewöhnlich.
Oyster gewöhnlich.
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 Listen, you gotta...
So, no need for gas? What are you gonna spend the extra money on?
I think I'm gonna give it to tzedakah. That's charity.
That is such a rabbi thing to say.
What are you gonna spend it on? Artisanal salt?
That's funny.
I feel the need. Maybe not. There's a cop
Rabbi,
right here.
are you scared of the cops?
Not at all. I think it's my turn to drive.
Can I wear your hat?
Deal. Here we go.
This is fun, man. We got a lot in common. I like vintage things. You like vintage things.
Yeah, the Torah's pretty vintage.
The Torah is very vintage, yes.
I think there's a gas station up ahead. Should we stop?
Oh, but I would love some beef jerky.
Probably not kosher.
Oh, we'll just get some pork rinds. I'm kidding, I'm kidding.
A lot's gone on since then. The car has come out. The RAV4 electric vehicle, which I have one of here, also works well. Carries 4 people rather than 2 people, but they aren't making them anymore, and they aren't making the Impact, the EV1 anymore, and you sort of wonder why. But while this has been going on, batteries have zoomed ahead, and the batteries for microcomputers and cell phones are up to where they're 6 times better than the lead acid cells that we were using. And such batteries mean that and these batteries put out a lot of power too. It just means that battery-powered cars are going to be part of our future. It's strange that no car company is turning out or even doing research on battery-powered cars now, but there's so much happening in this field with the lithium batteries that soon we will be able to show them the cars that go long distance. Maybe the first cars will be hybrids that only have a 100-mile range, though you can make them at more expense to have 350-mile range, but the 100-mile range is enough for the part of the hybrid using the battery, and you have another 300-mile range in it for those rare times when you have to go a long distance that would use gasoline or ethanol, which can be made to produce energy without any CO2 problem. So this is sort of a wake for the old Impact EV1, but really it's a time for rejoicing because the technology makes it inevitable that there will be lots of electric cars in the future.
Using new lithium-ion batteries, engineers will be able to design the next generation of hybrid vehicles called plug-in hybrids that can be recharged through a standard electrical outlet. Start picturing what I'm talking about. You got your car, you pull in, you plug it right in the wall.
U.S., which brings us back to the next cleanest vehicle, the electric car. Hampered for the moment by its limited range and $2,000 worth of batteries needing replacement every few years. But that could change in a hurry.
I would say we probably hear about 2 to 3 battery breakthroughs. Someone who's come up with the solution. A lot of them aren't really solutions. What's happened with the interest in electric vehicles is there is so much activity out there. The breakthrough's got to come one of these days.
We were hunters and foragers. The frontier was everywhere. We were bounded only by the earth and the ocean and the sky. The open road still softly calls, like a nearly forgotten song of childhood. We have wandered among the wanderers. The earth is a very small stage in a vast cosmic arena. Our planet is a lonely speck in the great enveloping cosmic dark. In our obscurity, in all this vastness, there is no hint that help will come from elsewhere to save us from ourselves. The Earth is the only world known so far to harbor life. There is nowhere else, at least in the near future, to which our species could migrate. Visit? Yes. Settle? Not yet. Like it or not, for the moment, the Earth is where we make our stand. To me, it underscores our responsibility to deal more kindly with one another and to preserve and cherish the only home we've ever known.
Grandpa? Welcome home. Come on. I've got something for you. What are you waiting for?
You're one lucky man. I was worried about you for a minute.